Still her
shoot him when you're not supposed
nephew.
to shoot, you know?
He's still family.
Trigger
That's the most
discipline.
fucked up
Keep
part
that
about this. Like, she
waggling
still
finger
is
away
like,
from that
that's
trigger
Tom's.
if you're no meaning to use it. And if you're
It's
training,
Tom's
keep
nephew.
that weapon unloaded. Because you don't want to shoot your colleagues.
He looks like a bit like
If it
Tom.
gets dirty, clean it.
It's the worst.
If it's too hot to clean it, wait till it
Yeah.
cools down. That's right, aye.
It was really
But
some
I've got
cold
my
shit,
lucky
man. It
deer
was some
skin
cold
and
shit.
gloves.
Yes. Indeed you do, but
That aye.
most things, as you know, in this world can burn.
That's right, aye.
Smoldering pile.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's important to take care of those fingers of yours
As I.
whenever you need them. When would you say it is appropriate to use that trigger finger of yours?
Only when I've made all attempts to talk to somebody and they're no backing down and they've got the gun pointed at me and I've got my gun pointed at them and they're no backing down. And I look in his eyes and I can see that there's a little scared boy in there who's just about to shoot me.
Hello.
And then you shoot me.
Have a dinner with Detective Galloway.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry for what happened to you. If I had seen your telegram, I'm not... Are you okay? I mean, clearly not.
Quite
I don't know.
fine.
I just did a class and then Doreen said I go to it.
I'm doing great.
I'm sorry, you're not who I thought you were. I do apologize. But I hope you get better very, very soon.
Ah, was probably Doreen then.
Shall we to the
What's
saloon?
your
Did you want to
name?
have a chat, or do you...
I owe you a dinner. Or
All
you
right.
owe me one.
I just don't want to... I don't want to... If you're still recovering...
I'm going to leave you to have
Oh,
a-
thank you, sir. Sorry.
Okay. How about the judge instead?
Sure.
You have to excuse me, I don't feel very peckish at the moment.
Did you need some food?
No, I don't.
Oh, you
feel
don't.
peckish.
Oh, man. She's all fucked up.
Would you feel comfortable if I put my gun in my belt instead of my gun belt? Or my waistband?
I don't mind. Here, I'll do it. The fuck is that? Alright, I guess we're going to church.
Et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Guess we're going to church.
Other ladies.
Good afternoon.
Brings you to the church.
Just a bit of reflection.
I'll leave you to it.
Thank you. He was very upset that I called him a preacher rather than a priest. He said it was very Protestant of me. Surprise, surprise. Anyhow, I'm Mary Dalloway.
Ida Ullman. I suppose you already know that.
Well, I mean,
Sorry
it's good
for
to
my
properly,
absence.
you know, introduce oneself, I guess.
I was I didn't fuck you over, by the way. I just had to leave. I didn't quite like this place anymore.
I don't assume that. Don't worry. All right, well, the truth is, Ada, you're a very important person. You have a point of view. But you also have a culture. And I understand even just talking with me puts you in a certain position it already has. I guess my first question is why'd you bother to come?
You mind giving me a moment? I'm having a private meeting here and I'd really rather not go anywhere else. Is it alright if I ask you to leave?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. You should have said so.
Thank you.
No need. Just impossible. Next time, just don't try to cut it, yeah?
Sorry, I didn't realize it was you in here. Thought it was someone being nosy.
Oh, definitely not. I'm just the priest here, so. I wish you good day. I'll let you have your meeting.
Sorry about that.
All good, all good. It happens to the best of us.
Why'd I come? Why am I entertaining this? Because you have a job to do. And at the end of the day, we may be on completely opposite sides, but like I told a friend a very long time ago, there's always a gray area and there's a middle ground that people can meet. I don't think of you of any less of a person. I don't seek pleasure in the idea of having participated in shooting your colleagues or yourself. I don't know if you've been involved in any of it. You have been asking for a meeting. The least I could do is indulge while I have time. I mean, what's the worst that'll happen? You ask me a question and I refuse to answer. Okay, then we move on. And you're a detective for a reason. You're not stupid by any means. Or at least I hope not. So I would hope that you'll be smart enough to draw your own conclusions without having to hear words coming straight from the horse's mouth. I just hope for the right conclusions. God, I wish I could dissect your brain right now and wonder what you're thinking. Perhaps you're trying to take a certain approach, or you're taking in what I've said, but I highly doubt that anyone would put weight on my words like that. I don't think I'm an important person. I think I'm a piece to what you were looking into. And it's better to get all details and all perspectives rather than letting one go astray, because you never know what that one opinion, one perspective could hold. You're being thorough. I'm not important. I'm just another person, and that's fine. It's okay. They're killing me with the silence.
Sorry,
What is.
I can get lost in thought in what I want to ask.
It's okay, you take your time. But if it's one of those tactics of
No,
allowing silence to fill the room so one person can feel the need to fill the space with noise, then I don't think it's gonna work.
no, indeed, in this case it was not, although that's something I've utilized before,
It's great,
without
isn't
doubt.
it? It's a great tool.
But that would only come after an uncomfortable conversation, or if I was, if you were in a flow with speech. I've just, it's with so many of these things, I'm finding that, the cookie cutter approach doesn't work for anyone. In
It's
order
a way
to
of
ascertain anything, I kind of need to get to know you as a person. It just depends on what you want to tell me.
oh, why I am the way that I am.
Well, what motivates you?
You want to
And yeah,
know
that
who I
that's part of it.
am. I don't shy away from telling people my story because it's one of those things where you tell someone and they might tell another person. So if it's in my control, it doesn't really have much effect on me if someone knows.
Hmm.
Also, I don't think it'd have much effect on me if the entirety of the crossing knew at this point.
Well, for me, my motivations, I already have a rough idea what happened. It's been my intention this entire time to speak to you, to get to know you as a human being outside the perspective of the people who wrote you off as a stupid idiot. Uh, there isn't one person who had something nice to say to you, Ida. And from what I've seen so far, you're the most clever of the fucking bunch, and that's not an exaggeration or me trying to scratch your back.
How do I know that you speak the truth and it's not just...
Flattery? Because you know. Because you've been around them and you know them too, and now I know them a little. And no amount of bravado or wishing it were true can make someone smarter than they actually are.
I don't think it has to be... It has to do with me and my intellect at all. I think regardless of your words, I'll indulge you regardless. So why wouldn't I at this point? You
Well, just
wouldn't
know I'm
be
not
able
here to
find
gossip
out.
about your story, but I do want to know it.
Lots of daddy issues. That's a shocker, isn't it?
I don't know why you'd be blamed and not your father for their part in whatever that it means.
I'm not of no shortage of blame. My mother died giving birth to me. It was my father and I for 23 years of my life, and I'm 24. My father and his brother were involved in things like I am, like I have been involved in, but they worked separately. My uncle is the most terrifying person that I know, and is far more dangerous than my father ever was. He and I would rob graves. First time I saw a corpse, I was 5. First time I handled a corpse, I was 5. He'd make odd deals with people here and there, but it was just him and I, and eventually in my teenage years, we decided to leave for Europe, in which certain things got a little bit messy. I begged him to teach me how to shoot, and he didn't. It was pointless. He even tried to change his mind, and I gathered he didn't teach me because he wanted to hold on to whatever childhood I had.
Sorry, I'm trying not to interrupt.
Since he absolutely ruined that for me. We joined a traveling circus. We were by no means part
Sorry.
of any sort of
I had to
act,
tell
but
you
we
guys.
joined them in their travels. We saw lots of places, and it was great for several years. People
I know.
came and left.
If I touch the mic or adjust it,
And
I
then
muted
he
by
heard
accident.
news that his brother wanted a meeting with him back in England. And I begged him to not go, that we had a good life, even if it was on the road. We were happy, or at least I was, but I knew he was always itching for something else, something he was used to.
No good angles.
I asked him why his own daughter wasn't enough for him to just stay and indulge in the lifestyle that we were used to and familiar with, but was still very new with a lot of life left in it. He gave me a bullshit answer, and that's when I concluded that I was not his daughter, but his colleague. And I have always been his colleague, and I will never be enough because I am not that man's daughter.
That's not your issue, girl. That's your daddy's
So we
issue.
went
It's
to
his
England.
issue. I hate when people put that on somebody else. Like it's her
It
fault
was a
because her
messy
dad's a piece of
situation that we
shit.
got into. It was something that we were used to, but it turned sour very quickly. And the long story short of it is we were found by a group of people who didn't like something that we did. See, he had killed someone. He had no other choice. And so, they killed him after several hours of torture.
Ooh.
And I was waiting for their mercy of death. But they let me go. And I asked my uncle for help trying to find these people, and he refused. So I spent about 6 months looking all over, and when I did eventually find them, I realized how small I was in comparison to these men. That all of them were properly familiar with how to hold iron, and I barely knew it. All I had was this tiny little
Oh yeah, they
knife,
didn't
and
teach her.
I'm pretty sure it was blunt. They spared me, I guess. Told me that death would be mercy, but living would be the ultimate. It would be torture for me. And it was. So I wanted to leave the idea of seeking for any form of revenge behind because it's an endless and vicious cycle,
Mm.
and it leads you nowhere. There is only two things that happen during any form of revenge. You either die or you lose enough that you feel like you're a corpse anyway.
Damn.
That's when I came to the crossing, and I met the ranchers, and they spoke about stories of evil people who have done evil things, the worst of the worst, and the name that they gave was Butch Egan. For 3 days, all I heard were stories about how he had crushed and grinded a skull and sniffed it like cocaine, and built an idea and an image of a monster in my head as someone utterly terrifying. On my third day, I was in Strawberry on the porch of the place where you can grab some stew or lay your head down. The giant wooden bear in there. I was writing in my journal, and I was writing about meeting the ranchers. And then I heard a couple footsteps approach. One went inside, I saw, and the other one stood next to me. And he asked if he could smoke a cigarette next to me, and I said sure. And he asked me what I was writing, and for some reason I lied and said poetry. I don't know why I lied. I just did. It was a gut instinct just to lie. I asked for the man's name, and he said Butch Egan. And my stomach dropped completely. And that's when my father's words just came to mind. Don't show fear. Don't show anything. Remember what I taught you. So when he did notice that I paused, I laughed it off and said I was contemplating whether I should tell you my name. and he moved on very quickly. I convinced him. We spoke about good people and bad people in the gray area, and he said that he's a bad person who's done bad things, that he had just left Sisika, and I shouldn't tell people that I met him, because he's just a horrible person. He asked me for some advice about a friend of his, and then he gave me his telegram. He didn't ask for mine, I didn't ask for his, he just gave it. I met up with Seth afterwards, and he had this idea of me heading out west and being undercover and being a spy. That ultimately would have gotten me killed if I had gotten that far. It wasn't even 5 minutes as I had started riding towards the west from, God, I don't even know where it was. Maybe Valentine? I don't know. I was surrounded by maybe 6 people on horseback. They told me they were looking for their friends, Seth and Hank. And I said, I don't know those people, that this was my 3rd day. But obviously they didn't buy it. They knew something. So one of them got on the back of my horse and aimed their gun, dug it into my back, and we went somewhere. We went to a hill in which they told me that someone that they cared about was kidnapped by the ranchers. I had no idea about that. I had no idea whatsoever. And they started throwing knives at me,
Jesus.
digging it into me while asking me the same questions over and over again. And then they took me to another location in which they tried, I think, seeing if they could telegram Seth and see if I was lying or not, but they ended up taking me to a 3rd spot where it was by a river, and they pushed my head under the water multiple times. By the end of it, they said that they weren't gonna shoot me. That they were gonna have me run, and that they would shoot arrows at me. Like a deer in the fucking woods. They didn't say that part, that's the part that I mentioned to myself, like a deer in the woods. And I started to run. I managed to get across the river, but the second I managed to get back on land, I was struck with an arrow through my stomach. And I remember being very cold, and that the only warmth that I had was my own pool of blood. And that's a feeling that I don't think I'll ever really forget.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't expect to survive, but I thought if I did, then it would be a ranger who found me, or maybe a lawman, or just a passerby. But then I heard a deep voice.
It's a very
a
emotional
male
plea.
voice, calling out, asking if anyone was here, and I called out. I don't know where I found my strength, but I found it. And then I noticed
This is cool.
that he had a cross tucked into his belt. And the only other person that I had met that day that had a cross tucked into his belt was Bush Egan. And in that moment, this horrible man that had done horrible things held my hand and told me that things were gonna be okay, that he was going to help me and to breathe. So he put me on the back of his horse, and he took me to Annesburg and took me to the medical office, in which I experienced the excruciating pain of iodine over a wound for the first time, and an arrow being pulled out. but also feeling a sense of comfort knowing that there was someone genuinely there to help me. And it wasn't sheer coincidence. The only coincidence there was the fact that we had just briefly met each other a few hours prior. He had found out that these people had hurt someone, and he asked, I guess, where this person was, and he came looking. And by the end of it, I told him that I know that he thinks that he's not a good person, but I see the good in him. Once the ranchers found out about this, they immediately thought it was a tactic of manipulation, that he knew something, that it was all just a game. But I knew that it wasn't. I knew it wasn't manipulation. He wanted nothing in return. We met in secret because the ranchers really didn't like it, and Seth was sweet on me. He asked me to organize a meeting between the goons and the ranchers, and Seth was adamant on killing them. And it took me a day of pulling teeth to convince him otherwise, but I finally did. And Seth is a brick wall, he won't be budged. But I managed to sway his opinion just for this meeting. And it was the most ridiculous fucking meeting I've ever been part of. It was just stupid. It was just dumb back and forths. We continued to meet here and there in secret, and he'd give me guidance and advice. And the very, very broken part of me saw him almost as a mentor, a comfort. And then I eventually told him that I wanted out of the ranches, but I needed his help. And he helped me. He helped squash whatever there was between the conflict that I had with the people who tortured me. That happened because I was a catalyst circumstance. But it definitely did push me towards the ranchers at first, until I realized that was just a fucking mess and it would get me killed. All my father taught me was about survival. Survive no matter what, just survive. Live. That is your priority. Butch's friends didn't like me, his gang. But I did tell him that I was starting to feel a bit lonely. And he told me that he had a friend of his that he wanted me to meet, and I asked who, and he says Sunshine. And that's how I met Lucius. And then a hell of a lot happened after that. So that's the start of my story. A fucking mess. Most people call it a tragedy, but at this point, I like to think that I was dealt a very shitty hand. I mean, who the fuck gets tortured on their third day, right? 6 months after. 6 months isn't a long time, but 6 months after watching their own father be tortured for hours. And all I could think about was, is this how he felt? Is this how he felt? Is this the pain that he went through? That's why I would never, ever hurt anyone in that capacity, ever. I've said that I would, but I've just lied to myself and lied to others about it. I would never put anyone through any pain like that to endure for the rest of their lives, because that pain never goes away. It never goes away. So, I guess in conclusion, I'm someone who has never functioned without their father. Someone who was dealt an unfair hand. But I did try to make something of myself. I really tried to be an undertaker out west. But when things keep going wrong back to back to back, what the fuck is the point? But please don't think that just because I take pity on myself in certain aspects of my life that I am without blame. I am with a lot of blame and shame.
So I'm
There are
taking
things that
notes
I've done
and
that I'll
writing
never
questions.
forgive myself for, and no one else should either.
I don't have my highlighter. I think it's downstairs. Shit.
I'm not a good person, but I can be good to those that are good to me, but not because they're good to me first, but because people deserve good
Oh, here it is.
and kindness,
So I can highlight the questions.
and to be treated like a fucking human being.
Alright, that's the thing. I don't have a highlighter in here. I'll have to use a Sharpie.
But I fear that that is a rarity to come upon here in the crossing, and what a shame that is. Good people, decent people, just human beings.
Did you ever find out who was hunting you down with arrows?
Yes. It's in a report, so I don't mind talking about it. It was the barbarians.
Right. Um. Would you think? Would you consider what you and Sunshine had as love? Like a romantic relationship?
That is a jump from what we spoke about, but
Is it? We're a bit jumpy. Like a spider.
I've never been in love. I've always strayed away from the idea of it. I didn't even know what certain things were. The butterflies in the stomach, I had no idea what the fuck that was. I thought I had a stomach ache. So I have no point of reference besides the love that I felt for people that were close to me. So I can't really answer your question, but what I can say is there was love for each other. But I'm not sure if you're asking if it was the love that I don't know. Again, I don't really have a point of
Well, you
reference
had
to compare it to.
a mentor relationship with Butch Egan, as you described.
Mm-hmm.
Was it similar to that?
No.
From an outsider's perspective, how do you think one might describe it?
A relationship between Sunshine and I was a romantic relationship.
There you go. Did any of those folks, Wyatt, Growler, the Charlottes, um, Ava,
Charlotte's
did any of them ever express their feelings about you to you?
all the time.
And what kind of things would they say?
Let me put it this way.
Well, how about we put it like the truth?
I was never Ida to them.
Oh,
I was Ida the rancher. I was Ida the distraction. Sunshine's girlfriend, Ida.
oof, that one
And
must burn.
then I was Ida that shot Sunshine.
Oh,
That was me.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was never just myself. So any chance anyone got, there was an expression of dismay
Mm.
in any and all capacity, in sometimes horrible ways and sometimes just a comment.
Did they do this while Butch Egan was around?
Oh, Butch was the one who really took lead in all of this, and people,
What?
everyone sort of looked up to Butch. So they pushed heavy with what he pushed. When he died, it softened up a bit, but it
What?
still continued.
All right, sorry if I'm a little confused. Did he So you asked help from him to help get you out of the ranch situation.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a conversation about what that would entail and the after effects of that? Like, okay, we'll take you in or something like that?
No, it was never anything like that. I never wanted to be part of the
Mhm.
goons. It
But
wasn't.
he set you up with his friend.
Mm, I told him my plans about the undertaking things out in Armadillo.
Oh, I
He
see.
thought it was a good idea. And then he said he wanted to introduce me to Sunshine, but for a short time, Bush just sort of disappeared. And when I did meet Sunshine, I told him about that Butch wanted us to meet. So we indulged each other in conversation, and there was something there from the beginning.
Sort of like an immediate spark.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you like about Lucius Landry?
He was okay with being vulnerable. He was good with his words. He wasn't stupid. He was smart. He was human. but also I can't remember exactly what it was that I said to him, but I said something, and I think it was something about, I don't think it was me wanting to hurt someone, but maybe something in that realm. And I asked him if I was a bad person for that, and I said yes. But that's when I realized he wasn't just a leader of this notorious gang that I had heard stories about, but he has morality. That there was probably a lot of good in him.
What were the regular hangout spots you guys had?
For him and I.
Yeah.
I don't mind. There is quite sentimental spots that I'd like to keep to myself.
Yeah, sure. Understand.
Thing is with me is I never succumb to sharing the personal details of the conversations that Lucius and I would have
Mm-hmm.
to the goons. I mean, no matter what they said or what they did, I never succumbed to it because they didn't deserve to know. And also, it was my fucking business. It wasn't gang business.
Did you ever try to change people's minds? In order to sort of
Yes.
acclimate?
See, at first, I thought, okay, this is just business. But it wasn't just business. Everyone fucking gives a shit. So yeah, I tried. On multiple occasions, multiple times over several months. Thing is, some people are just dense. They're just fucking stupid, by the way. I don't mean in their opinions of my relationship, because there were a lot of fucking faults. But there
She
were
got me
just
good.
some stupid fucking moments that I just couldn't be bothered. Some of the shit that I would hear or witness,
Pardon me.
what the fuck? It got to a point where my mere existence was a burden. I had a target on my back from the very beginning. And when I allowed myself to be human, what do humans do? They make mistakes, because I am extremely flawed and I've made several mistakes. But in comparison to certain other things, it was nothing. It was nothing in comparison, but I might as well have gotten the firing squad for it, the noose for it, the chair for it.
When did it sour with Sunshine?
Um, a lot of it was caused by other people. But there was something that happened before I disappeared for about a month. That's when it truly soured. And this is where I'll have to put my foot down and not talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to. It's not that I can't. I just don't want to. It's very difficult for me to put myself first in any sort of situation, and I'm doing that now. And I've been doing that recently, just putting myself first.
You know Adelaide.
God, Adelaide, yep.
She spoke a bit about you. And she seemed to reckon that you sort of tried to befriend her, but she reckoned it was all sort of fake, and that as soon as you know you were mostly focused on Lucius and didn't care about anybody else. That was the idea and impression she gave. That you did a few things together, and she thought you were friends, but you sort of just dropped her. Is that how you would describe that relationship?
No. It's no lie that Sunshine was at the very top of my list of importance. But I grew to care about people. And the two people that I grew to care about the most was Wyatt and Adelaide. At first with Adelaide, it started off as, well, I might as well just befriend her because
I can't hear.
she has a big mouth. People listen to her. So if I'm on her good side, then surely she'll only say good things. But I grew to actually like her and her chaos. There's a part of me that still does like her in a way. But Wyatt can go fuck himself.
Was it?
He's a piece of shit. He always was a piece of shit.
I just want to hear you say it. It's music to my ears.
Thinking he knew what was best. You know how I said that some people were just so fucking stupid?
Hmm.
My reaction while saying that, first person that just comes to mind is him.
Just from reading his record, because I've sort of done a deep dive on everybody. Doesn't really think with anything but his gun belt and his knives.
Exactly.
So the reason why they painted you with that brush was because you were a rancher and they had conflict with the ranchers. Did that conflict continue after that initial meeting that you set up between those folks?
No. Mm-mm.
So the conflict ended.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not good with explaining things. I tend to tell a long story rather than just getting to the point. It's just how my brain works. But I guess while explaining all of that, what I was trying to say was I was never really given a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I was never respected.
How did that feel when you're going into situations with like these people that could be dangerous?
I don't know why the fuck I did it.
I didn't ask why. I said, how does it feel?
I didn't want to be alone.
Okay.
That was my biggest fear at the time. I just didn't want to be alone.
And so, sort of, even being around assholes that have nothing but contempt for you is better than being alone.
After spending 23 years with a man that you thought was your father, but turns out is just a mere colleague that you didn't even realize you had, it's difficult to actually try to figure out what it is that I want and what I need.
How would you describe Butch Egan's relationship with Sunshine when he was alive?
I feel uncomfortable commenting about that. It's not my place. And I don't like the fact that thing is he's dead, you know? And as much as I cared about Butch, but also as much as he was a pain in my ass, I just don't want to talk about it. It's not my place.
Well,
It's not my
here's
place to interpret that.
all right. Well, I'll try to provide context. Because from Sunshine's point of view, Butch Egan was useful, but a problem. In his words, like a rabid dog that he had on a leash.
The thing
Is that how you would
I
describe Butch?
No, I had a very different perspective on Butch because
Of the incident where you sort of saw his vulnerability.
where he saved me, yes, all the stories and stuff I had heard about him doing awful things. When he got out of Sisika, something just snapped in him, I guess, and he changed quite a bit. So I never saw that side of him. I only saw this very different, surreal side that people would speak about, would phrase it as.
Did
I don't know.
Sunshine,
Mm.
when he was alone and vulnerable with you, did he express that he was anxious or worried during scenarios and things like that, that he would panic, but have to stay calm on the outside?
Um,
It's a very long-winded, weird question. I guess what I'm getting at is, was there any pillow talk about, pillow talk is a choice word, scenarios that you'd been in that he wanted to dissect, or were those just like he just other conversations?
I don't know.
So what did you talk about?
God, what didn't we talk about? I tried
Okay.
not to talk about gang stuff. I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
spend time with him.
Did he
Like
ever
that.
defend you in front of the other folks?
I believe so. The thing is with these people, they didn't have The only time they had any sort of, I wouldn't even call it courage, it was very cowardly to talk about me to me, was when I was bombarded with all of them all at once telling me what was wrong with me.
Hmm. I heard they did that in a sort of a grand finale sort of way. It's
Hmm.
Lucius's words. He was trying to humiliate you, and he said, I don't even think I'll repeat most of what he said because this is another reason why I thought it was important to talk to you and why you are important regardless of what you reckon, is because it was odd to me to go through his entire romantic history and how he described each one, and for them to be equally appalling to me in their descriptions.
Well, what was your conclusion?
That he's a narcissist and he puts on a mask and it slowly slips away after a while when he gets bored. And he always gets bored, doesn't he? Did he ever flirt with people in front of you while you were in a relationship?
Why do we need to talk about this?
I think it's relevant to his character. I'm curious whether I'm right, although I suspect I already know now. I'm not here to make you uncomfortable, though. Growler and Wyatt, are they just mercenaries?
What do you mean?
Just in for the money? Or was there a sense of loyalty?
There was loyalty. I know you're trying to get a sense of Lucius's person, but you've already spoken to him, and there is more to me than just that man.
Absolutely. Which is why I didn't bring them up till, you know, later on. I need to know why, after you were humiliated, is it because you were afraid of being alone that you tried to take the fall for everything rather than just your part?
I wasn't trying to take the fall. I had a reason, yes, but I wasn't trying to take the fall.
Okay. Well, correct me. What were you doing?
I wanted to be in control of something for once. I thought my time was limited. I still do believe it's limited. And I don't think it's just about control. There are other aspects to it. But one thing that I can assure you about is that I wasn't trying to take a fall. I wasn't trying to do anything.
What do you think it looked like to Lucius? Would you like to know?
No, not really. Though I will say, I have no reason to lie or anything. I I killed Holt. I should have just let him leave, but I killed Holt.
I was talking about something different. This has all been really
You
crazy.
want to know my opinion of Sunshine? Now, after everything?
Sure. I do.
Actually, I need to take a piss real quick.
You
Excuse
go right
me.
ahead. I knew this was going to be the big one. What have I been telling you? And it's not about like gotcha information. It's about providing context. She doesn't realize. She does realize. This is so much fun because there's layers to it of there's just layers and I'm really appreciating it. I might actually try and take a piss. Oh, Jesus. This has been incredible. As a whole, it's been rewarding to be able to be given the opportunity to do any of this because so often a lot of the cases are just next. But if I'm honest, Orvid, like, and everyone, it deserves it. It was an old character. It's so fascinating. And we just don't get the opportunity to do this a lot, so I do appreciate them bending backwards to do stuff before they, you know, die. We so often don't get fucking diddly squat. She's being very guarded, but she's talking, which that's all I'm asking. Because even little things provide a lot of context, even little things. She's being very vague, but I still feel like we're getting an idea of who she is, even if it's slightly manipulative. Because they all accuse her of being manipulative, sneaky, surreptitious, sort of like trying to. And she did talk about control. She likes to be in control and have a sense of control, and that you know, she shot Sunshine. She's sort of she was upfront about that. We saw her even today. She thought someone was in the office over there and she pulled out her gun first, right? So let's, you know,
Sorry. That was a long piss. I hope the
you're fine.
preacher reverend doesn't mind that there's a piss puddle in there now. My
Yeah.
opinion is
It doesn't matter. It's the proof that it doesn't matter if you stonewall, you can still make it fun by just talking about your
someone
character.
who
Literally,
is
give us your
deeply
backstory, give us nonsense
vulnerable,
information. It'll still
and
provide.
vulnerability, in my opinion, is not a weakness. But once one is privy to that vulnerability, it should feel like
I gotta get another coffee
a
or
privilege
water.
rather than one thing to shy away from.
I love her writing style. Like,
But
obviously, it's all improv stuff, but there's
just
certain
like
things she's
me,
saying that are just
just
so
like you,
poetic.
and just like anyone else, he is flawed, yet he is charming. And he's funny.
Yeah, he's charming
He's
as
smart.
hell. He was charming in the interview room.
But he's also done stupid things and has said stupid things.
Dally was like, you can't get away from the
Like I
fact that he's
mentioned,
charming. Charming, attractive, like it's a deadly combination for a manipulator.
though him and I have shot at
The
each
opposite
other
of Wyatt.
and have participated
It's just,
in wars.
just grabbing a coffee.
He
Poor
was
Wyatt
still
taking
as
shots.
human as it got with a kindness
We don't really do crabs.
and good in him.
Sorry, girl. I'm sorry.
I'll be entirely honest with you, Galloway.
It is really quiet.
I
I'm
know
trying.
Harvey's dead. I know Ava's dead. I know Charlie's dead. I don't know about Growler. I don't know about the rest.
All right, I've put it on automatic leveling, and it might make it really funny right now. So it'll either be too loud or too. I'd rather it too loud. So don't come for me.
This
Okay, it should be fixed.
this case of yours is probably dead with them. I hope that makes sense.
Not quite. Salazar wasn't there. They were injured at the time.
Who wasn't there?
Javier.
Okay.
If I'm getting my timeline correct. Am I incorrect?
No, Harvey's been in a coma for a while. That's why I was shocked to hear that he was up and about, but now he's dead, isn't he? Unless my information is wrong. I don't know if I can ask you for information.
Well, it's probably not a good idea if I give it to you. I mean, I'd be willing to if you told me who told you your information.
I guess we're both.
Stalemate.
Yeah.
That's fine. Here's the deal. I kind of know the who. I know the where.
I think I know who you think it is because of your questions.
Well, what do you think my lineup is?
I don't know what your lineup is.
Look, it kind of. I know you have no love for Adelaide, and I know she wasn't there necessarily. I'm gonna put it this way. I have enough evidence either way to do what I have to do for the persons that were on scene. I've been asking questions not necessarily about the case itself, but mostly to do with the character of Sunshine and those that know him. There are a lot of pieces and people involved, and you don't want to rat, etc. What I can't figure, and I'll be vulnerable with you here, because I have to paint a picture with limited information, and Sunshine was very truthful, except about certain things. He said he was alone. I know that's not true. But what I can't understand, and I do think Orwood probably cracked a little. I think it was coming for a long time. This man was a champion fighter, though. If it was a one-on-one, things would have been a little different looking. And the fact that a whole crime scene was neglected to be disclosed, well, that's not cute, is it? Not a great look. What I can't figure, and I did have an epiphany. I said, it's stupidity. It's the denseness, which you have confirmed. That's how Orford somehow grabbed dynamite when so many people were around him. Because somebody wasn't paying attention or somebody was fucking monologuing. Probably a combination. And it was a desperate fucking act. A last ditch, like Sunshine said. He acted from desperation. He said so many truths, but he just neglected to paint the full picture. But I don't need his brush. I've got my brain. I don't need to know the who. I know the who. I know the where. I know the how. I'd like you to clean up for me. Why would they continue to lie in statements instead of just fessing up? Because they're going to Sisika. Trust and believe, Ida.
You do realize what sort of position you're putting me in, right, by asking this question in hopes for an answer?
I don't really expect one. Well, I do want to know,
You know,
or
when
at
I
least
was
hope.
when I was talking to Snakeskin, giving my confession and whatnot in the office, in one of the apartments in Blackwater, I really fucking tried to tell him without telling him.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's not had his training on interviews and interrogations, so.
And I hope Damn it, Dalloway. I'm probably a dead woman either way, but at least one answer that I can fucking give you. And I'll probably part ways afterwards because I just don't want to. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I do want to say more, because I know you'll have dozens of questions, if not more. One lead that I'll give you is Lucius didn't kill him. That's it. I don't expect you to believe me. I mean, why would you? It could be easily chalked up to the fact that she's trying to save him, she's trying to protect him because she probably still has some love for him or whatever. It has nothing to do with any of that. I'm tired of this. I've shot at him.
Ada, you're forged in a crucible.
What does that mean?
Your sword, and you've been put through a lot of pressure. A sword is a weapon, but it doesn't mean it necessarily is wielded for violence. Self-defense, in this case, hard sell. Because there were a lot of people there. It doesn't matter who shot him. It doesn't matter who shot him. Do you hear me? Complicitness, according to the law, happened when we caught everybody with a body. Evidence tampering. Multiple locations. Trying to obfuscate the truth. In a last-ditch attempt to save some people some time. But as soon as we're holding hands and we're all there, ganging up, doesn't matter who pulled the trigger, Ada. Doesn't matter who wielded the sword. How did he manage to get the dynamite out with all of you there? This is a real gambit. I don't know if this for sure. I'm shaking.
I've said too much.
It sure as hell isn't something he'd do if he had any one-to-one chance with somebody. And I don't believe for a second that Sunshine got the upper hand of a champion fighter. Tied up? What was he? Managed to loosen his ties? Pull it out? Guys turned around? I haven't slept. Because Lucius Landry asked me for justice as a former judge. Knowing he's been lying to me giving me every kind of truth that would lead to the story he was telling me. I wonder how many stories he tells people day to day to get them to do what he fucking wants. And how many people have to be hurt along the way to sate his ego, to sate Wyatt's, to sate Austin's lust for rage, to sate Adelaide's chaos, to sate Charlotte's fucking curiosity into morbid matters. Everyone's got their reasons, Ada. But the truth has its consequences, regardless of what and why. I can't swing self-defense in that many people versus one. See, Coronado is a place they've often gone to. Take people, isolate them, hurt them. Where did you take Holt?
Skeller. Well, he ran there. I didn't take him there.
They've got no love for you. Everyone already thinks you're a rat, Ida.
No, they don't. I'd be dead.
Why did California and them attack you?
Honestly, I have no fucking idea.
Do they hold a lot of sway? Because they were calling you all sorts. I haven't met one person who has said a single nice thing about you. You don't seem that crazy to me. But I would rather live alone for 1,000 years than spend 5 minutes with Wyatt's scum ass or Austin's grim nature.
There was telegrams sent to Sunshine continuously, threatening tones, poking the bear. It was from someone named the Beast, I think, if my memory serves me right. It was never written to me. It was always to him and or others.
But did Sunshine suspect who it was?
We had no idea who it was at first.
At first. When did you find out it was Orvid?
I'm explaining that.
Sorry.
There's a lot of things that I genuinely cannot remember, so much has happened.
That's it. That's it.
But I don't remember how we came to a conclusion that it...
I'm shaking.
We
I'm
might
shaking.
as well ask this one specific person. I don't even remember what he was going by. I think Conrad.
They knew it was Orvid. They knew it was Orvid.
And he was really friendly
Slash
to us.
Conrad.
He was friendly to Sunshine too.
Let's see if we can.
So we went on a ride.
We went on a
And
ride.
when we got to where we got to, he dropped the accent. And everyone was startled. I had no fucking idea.
So he did go crazy.
And in that moment of I guess their shock of realizing who it was. The guy took out a fucking piece of dynamite.
Oh my god, she's admitted it's them. It was the
He
whole
told us
group.
to go towards the edge and put our hands up, and I was fucking terrified. Knew I was gonna die there, but in some
So he
fucked
did
up
take it
way,
out.
It was almost peaceful because I knew that I wouldn't die alone. And the... I remember Lucius taking my hand,
Jesus.
and that was comfort again, and I felt that comfort that Butch gave me the day that I thought I was going to die.
Oh my god.
Della, you've broken me, and I'll probably die if this ever fucking gets out.
Sorry.
But as he was monologuing, as it wasn't us monologuing, it was him. It was him. It was the cycle of revenge. He had been, I guess, I don't know, had some sort of disdain towards these people, and I don't even fucking blame him. But he embarked on the
Shit.
path of revenge, and honestly, he had guts. With the dynamite, he had fucking guts.
Oh my god.
But then it started fucking raining.
So it was true. Sunshine did tell the truth.
Molly
Like
was
I told you,
monologuing.
he said the truth, but
We
they were
ran.
all there.
But he started, it was fucking creepy. It was creepy. I could hear him from my left and then suddenly to my right. I didn't know where he was, and he was shooting at us. And we were shooting at him. So it's not a lie of self-defense. It was. It fucking was. I was prepared to fucking die.
Jesus.
And there was a... Like, it wasn't Sunshine who fucking killed him. You're not gonna get the justice that you want for this man who fucking tried to kill us, and to be quite honest, I'm a fucking dead woman now. I'm a dead fucking woman. I just ratted. I'm a snitch.
You quite possibly saved your friends.
What
Is
do you
there somewhere
mean?
you can stay for a few days to just calm down and quiet?
What do you mean I just saved my friends?
Quite possibly. I mean, I needed a confirmation or at least something that matched up with certain stories.
They're not my fucking friends. I hate
My
Wyatt.
apologies.
I don't owe them anything.
No, she's got a point. It was a stupid thing to say.
But it was...
Oh, did I accidentally call my horse? I don't know. We have
Yes,
to.
there is a man dead. And honestly,
Well, we got.
the whole dynamite situation is something that I'll probably use in the future. because I'm one fucking person. And I don't want to allow people to walk all over me. So I intend to make dynamite. And I intend to always have one on me in case of a situation in which I'm at odds with some people and I'm outnumbered.
My only thing is like with dynamite, they have to light it. So he had you up against a cliff.
Mm-hmm. We were just talking to him.
And no one had guns out?
No.
But
There
there's a
was even a
fuse.
comment of, why did no one search him? Why did no one search him? I don't know who said it. Someone said it. But I remember feeling almost,
So search him. Did you have him restrained at any point?
no. It was a stupid comment. Because we just wanted to talk to him. I'll find out if it was actually him, so why the fuck would we search him? I just thought that's a stupid fucking question. I remember getting pissed off at that moment because I think it was fucking Wyatt.
I'm sensing some lies are bubbling.
The thing about
Who did he
the
ride
goons,
with?
who?
On the way there.
Wolford?
Did he ride his own horse or with somebody?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think his own horse.
So you suspected it might be Orby, but he didn't confirm until he sort of revealed himself?
He dropped the accent like it was nothing.
Why do you think he would do that? Did he feel, why would you think he would do that?
I don't know. I don't know the context of much of anything to do with him and them.
I just
don't
think
know
there's
the
like
history.
there's a fuse on dynamite. It goes out. You have those seconds. He's got his gun out. You guys have guns out. At that point, what happened?
It was a firefight. Like I said, he was fucking creepy.
Hmm.
I couldn't pin where he was at times.
Did you have horses?
They were far away. The one thing that I will say about the goons, and I have
Yeah, I know. It's really late.
no fucking reason to defend them. But even if someone, and I know you won't believe this, but I've witnessed it multiple times, even when
Good
someone
night.
had done them an injustice or did something horrible, there was always a conversation to be had and an understanding to be met. And I think that's what I liked about them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they weren't just some outlaw gang that fucking tortured people or hurt people.
They weren't just
That's
that.
what I liked a lot about.
Did you know that Wyatt tortured a French woman with a hammer and told her that she'd never be beautiful again?
No. It
Huh.
doesn't surprise me. When was this?
A while back. Probably over the summer.
Before I got to the crossing.
I mean, I'm sure people
Jesus
don't give you
fucking
their
Christ.
highlights. Was there any point you had time to flee during that scenario? I think 5 people versus 1 guy who lost his dynamite has got a limited amount of ammo, probably. Even if he's crazy and
This-
creepy, when
the
he
space that where he had an upper ground and there wasn't much room to move about. It was either running downhill and being shot in the back, or it was fucking falling off a cliff.
Mm-hmm. It's a
I swear,
tricky one. I understand. I really do think Sunshine and you, for the most part, are telling the truth.
it
Almost
is the truth.
entirely.
I
It's
promise you, it
just,
is the truth.
I can't
I
imagine why. Yeah, Orvin might have cracked. I understand that, but why stay and fight unless? I mean, I guess you're. Were you fleeing? Did you? Here's the thing. You managed to get him. How did you manage to get him? If he's got the high ground.
like you said, there was a lot of us. Eventually, I'm pretty sure I clipped his fucking leg at one point, and I'm not the greatest shot,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a fucking mess. I'm pretty sure someone fell off a fucking cliff.
It's probably a stressful, chaotic scenario. Um, and then here's the thing: you got then Orvid's down. Everyone
I've
goes to
said enough,
Benedict.
Dalloway.
No, no,
I've
no.
said enough. Please.
That's fair, but
Please.
why
I've
leave the
literally
body?
said enough.
Why not give
What?
medical aid? Why not help a man from dying?
Said enough. You have no idea how terrified I am right now. How unbelievably fucking terrified I am with what I have said. And what's crazy is I just spent an entire fucking month on Gorma by myself, and since being back, I haven't been able to cry. I haven't been able to express any of my fucking emotions at all. And you're the fucking person that I've been able to do that with, and I kind of hate that. I kind of hate that. And I'm so overwhelmed.
I'm
Because
sorry.
while being on Gorma, I was also going through withdrawals of opium, and I was by myself. So there are certain memories I have of being on that island, not knowing
The
if
fuck is
certain
that?
situations even happened or not, because I was fucking hallucinating. But then once it was over, it was almost peaceful. It was lonely, but it was peaceful, and I didn't feel horrible anymore. I didn't feel like I was a problem anymore. No one was telling me every single day what kind of problem I was. So now I'm extremely overwhelmed with these emotions because I haven't felt this way, and I'm in a great deal of physical fucking pain.
Mm. I'm sorry.
I know you're trying to do your job, and I just please stop. Please.
That's fine. All right.
I've told you the truth. I've told you the truth.
It was a horse. It's
I
my
couldn't
horse.
fucking laugh. I'm still fucking stood here.
Ida, New Moon, Church at Guarma. That's where you find people. There's a community there for you if you ever want it. I can
Where?
make some telegrams happen if you need help and safety. You tell me, and I'll set everything up.
Where?
Guarma. But sometimes it's difficult to nail down the community there. There are a lot of isolates. But I know people. The kind of people that won't handle or allow nonsense. There's a lot of religious folks, but if you can handle that sort of thing, I don't want to leave you in the lurch, Ida, but it's the best thing I've got, and I know you just come from there, like you say, alone. But there is community there, real community.
I think I might take you up on that.
I can come by and check on you and start things going. I'll talk to a few people, see if we can get you accommodations, okay?
I need time to think about it.
That's fine.
Do you
I'll
want
leave.
your money back?
No, you take that, just in case. You need to go quick. I'll leave you in peace. I'm sorry. Again.
It's okay. You're just human. You're just trying to do your job.
It's just harder some days than others.
I know.
You're not a piece of shit, Ida. It was nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Ah, man, that was fucking intense. That was crazy. What an actress. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm just gonna impound the horse. Ugh, why didn't you just go to the stable? Jesus fucking Christ. Really in depth there. Fucking hell. I really don't know what to say. I'm probably not going to process it till later. Oh my god. She's both... It's a really weird outcome because I believe them about Orvid going nuts. I really do. And he might have had them up against the rocks, and technically, but they all went there. And it's like, technically, yeah, that could have... I really believe... We're still missing things, but like... It's the fight after. It depends on what the sheriffs think. I hope she's all right. That was very emotional. And she's, yeah, it's like she said, she's very overwhelmed and probably like, it was very intense. She needed to get it out. She needed to get it out, man. How long has she been holding that in? I feel so bad. Dalloway actually feels bad for her. So if it's manipulation, it's top tier. I want to believe it's not. That's like... I think she still has some love there though, but like it's just a different... It's all twisted, and I like that she mentioned she's like, I'm trying to do things for me, and like I really... Dalloway's trying to throw her a bone because like, I'm not offering you redemption. 100%. Dalloway's offering you a choice. You don't have to die. You can start a new life in Guarma, and we'll contact some people and get you situated in a place that you might be able to belong. They do have community there, but you kind of have to know people. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's really intense. I'm like flabbergasted. She's right though. The most of the people that were involved are dead. So Charlie Hastings had a feeling she was on scene. I knew at least Charlie Hastings, um, Growler, Wyatt, Sunshine, Ida. She said based on who you ask questions about. So she sort of confirmed things without confirming them. And the problem is, rather than letting her do that, Dalloway pushed. And pushed and pushed and pushed. I was really hoping for a